Xi's Taiwan warning to Trump highlights tensions in Beijing summit. Chinese leader raises issues that clouds Trump's hope for the best summit ever. President Trump and President Xi work together at a state banquet. President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. Beijing, Chinese leader Xi Jinping warned President Trump that any mishandling of Taiwan could lead to an extremely dangerous situation, directly raising a point of tension that has loomed over what the U.S. president said at the start could be the best summit ever. Xi's remarks, while in line with China's long-standing position, threatened to dim the mood of a visit both countries hoped would stabilize ties. The meetings then began Thursday morning at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing, were billed as a gathering of superpowers to quell economic and trade disputes. Those topics were indeed raised, including discussions of trade ties, U.S. access to the Chinese market, Beijing's investment in U.S. industries, and its purchases of American agricultural products. Xi, however, aims to weaken the U.S. commitment to Taiwan, a self-governing democracy that Beijing seeks to bring under its control. As the leader of the world's two superpowers meet in Beijing, the WSJ's Jonathan Chen and Alex Ward examine the biggest challenge facing both sides, and which neither may feel more confident. Handling well, relations between the two countries can maintain overall stability. The Chinese leader said, according to the foreign ministry. If handled poorly, the two countries will collide or even clash, putting the entire U.S.-China relationship in an extremely dangerous situation. Taiwan independence and the cross-strait peace are as irreconcilable as fire and water, she said. Safeguarding peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait is the biggest common denominator between China and the U.S. Trump didn't publicly respond to Xi's statement. Great place. Incredible. China's beautiful, Trump said following the morning discussions. When asked how his talks had gone, he didn't answer questions about Taiwan. Trump entered the meeting with the pressing issue on his hands, the war in Iran. Tehran relies on China for its economical survival, and Trump wants Xi's help in brokering an end to the war. The two leaders did discuss Iran, according to a White House official, who said China agreed that the Strait of Hormuz should remain a free waterway and agreed that Iran shouldn't have a nuclear weapon. But there was no indication on the first day of the summit that China is prepared to do more. Beijing's official statement said only that the two sides exchange exchanged views on the situation in the Middle East. China's foreign ministry didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. She also expressed some interest in increasing Chinese purchases of U.S. oil, according to the White House version of events. China made a point to raise Taiwan even after the U.S. had signaled for days that it had no plans to make substantive changes. Substantive. Substantive changes to its long-standing policy of non-supporting Taiwan independence, while stopping short of formally opposing it. The White House made no mention of Taiwan. A pedestrian in Taipei walks past a TV repair store displaying new coverage of the meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping. TV screens at a store in Taiwan show images from the meeting. U.S. President Donald Trump shakes hands with China's President Xi Jinping and the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. The meeting of leaders and their delegations The meeting of leaders and their delegations lasted over 2 hours. Thursday, the only full day of meetings and events, began with much pomp before the circumstance. A smiling Xi greeted Trump with a handshake, not a big fat hug Trump earlier said he was expecting. A red carpet arrival ceremony overlooking Tiananmen Square featured a military honor guard and flag-waving school children. Cannons exploded over the square as the military played the Star-Spangled Banner and Trump saluted. One Chinese official leaned over to a reporter afterward and asked whether Trump liked the ceremony. Business executives include Tesla's Elon Musk and NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, along with the president's son Eric Trump and his wife Laura, accompanying the U.S. government delegation. The smoke lifted shortly before Trump's arrival, intensifying the unreasonable warm weather. The meeting of leaders and their delegations lasted over 2 hours in the hall. Information about the meeting, including Xi's remarks about Taiwan and a comment about stabilizing relations for the during of Trump's presidency. Trump's presidency dripped out slowly during the day, mostly from China's state media and foreign ministry. Western-based journalists traveling with the president received a brief account of the meeting hours after it concluded. Slightly more detail came from U.S. business leaders. Musk, Huang, and Tim Cook, the Apple chief executive, executive, the Apple chief executive, were spotted leaving the front entrance of the Great Hall of the People, and reporters asked how the summit had gone as they were down the steps. Wonderful, said Musk. Asked what had been achieved, Musk said, many good ideas, many good things. Huang said, meetings went well, and added that the two leaders are incredible. Cook simply made a peace sign. Onlookers wait behind a barricade for the motorcade of U.S. President Donald Trump in Beijing. Onlookers watch as the motorcade moves through Beijing. Elon Musk attends a state banquet. Tesla chief executive Elon Musk enters a state banquet in Beijing. Banquet. Following the morning meeting, Trump and Xi proceeded to a tower of Beijing's 15th century Temple of Heaven. Both leaders then meet again Thursday evening for a state dinner with dignitaries and business leaders. In an opening toast, Xi said the U.S. and China should be partners rather than rivals. Trump followed by lauding his visit and inviting Xi to visit the White House on September 24. It was unclear if the Chinese leader had accepted the offer. Both men then sat at a grand round table flagged by translators, officials, and members of Trump's family in the ornate Great Hall. Great Hall. On Friday, the two leaders will attend a tea ceremony and working lunch before Trump returned to Washington, D.C. Senior U.S. officials such as the Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and the Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller attended the proceedings. U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping speaking on stone steps and the Temple of Heaven. The war in Iran and tensions over Taiwan loomed over the summit. Children waved U.S. and Chinese flags in front of the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. Children waved U.S. and Chinese flags in front of the Great Hall of the People. Ahead of the summit, both countries expected to announce agreements on Chinese purchases of U.S. agricultural and aerospace products. Analysts say they expected a few breakthroughs in trade relationship unsettled last year by U.S. tariffs on China and Beijing's retaliatory restrictions on rare earth exports. Trump and Xi hope a trade truce announced after a meeting in South Korea late last year can be extended in Beijing, but there has been a long-standing fear that Taiwan and the war in Iran could derail the task. Derail. Despite the planning and choreography, there were slaps. A U.S. Secret Service agent was briefly detained entry to the temple compound with his weapon. Chinese officials at one point tried to prevent some U.S. officials from joining the presidential motorcade, causing a spirited confrontation.